Frankie, I'm looking forward to this. A little bit of transfer gossip as well, all around the strikers, really, and Graham Potter's involvement and Tim Snyden's potential lack of involvement. But first, I want to get your thoughts on Potter's performance thus far with the players available. Obviously, we got beat on Friday, but a win against Fulham last night.
Yeah, he ain't had the easiest job since he come in, has he? He's had a bit of a depleted squad. He had to, I guess that less so with Villa. I think the squad that he had and the players he had available to him at Villa was fine, and I was really impressed with. I'm not going to go into Villa. Villa's been done.
Yeah.
It's been discussed and everything else. But I just want to say Somerville was just fantastic. I thought he was absolutely superb, and I know obviously he didn't feature against Fulham, but I just think he was excellent. I thought his work rate in a position where I didn't even consider that he would ever play. I thought he just showed exactly the right attitude you need from a footballer, someone who's just willing to do whatever it takes, and doesn't matter where you put me, I'll give it my all. So Somerville, absolutely excellent. Unlucky Villa. It was a good first half, as has been said. But yeah, just the injury sort of undone us, which we all know. And then we moved into Fulham. I think he had a real tough task, really, with trying to find something that would be balanced. It was obviously going to be a system that we hadn't really played before, because there was people who was going to need to move into different positions and so on. But out of the whole game, the biggest thing that I just take from all of it is that the attitude is correct all of a sudden. There was 100% commitment from every single player. The desire to want to be out there. It looked like they wanted to play football again, which is a massive, massive improvement. And I think that got us through. I think that was the biggest part of why we ended up coming out with a 3 point. So, yeah, I mean, you get that new managerial bounce, that whatever. Is it an attitude change because they have got rid of the situation that they didn't want to be in? Who knows? But we certainly looked like we had our towels up a little bit more, and we were ready to fight to win football matches again.
Any standout performers for you? I thought there was quite a few contenders for the Man of Match award, which makes a change, really, it's a good thing. But anyone caught your eye?
Well, again, I don't necessarily think there was any like real massive standout. I thought everyone just tried really hard. I think that was the main thing for me. I know on the channel that I was watching it on, they gave it to Paqueta. Do I think he had the best game? I really don't. I was actually quite surprised when I see they gave it to him. I think even they struggled, because I think they was just giving it to the person who got the winning goal as such. So that's why they gave him the nod. But yeah, I just thought it was an all-round rugged, just constant trying effort performance. And yeah, it was quite even across the board. So no massive obvious standouts for me. I think you could make a case for a lot of players. I think you could argue Soler with his goal and his involvement in our second goal as well was massively important. I think Wan-Bissaka worked really hard and had really good spells as well. So I think that was a real plus. I think Souček had one of his unsung hero style performances, just putting himself around, getting himself in there, covered a lot of ground, worked really hard. And actually we'd asked him quite clearly that he did have to get back and cover, and at times he was really in the center of the park, but he was breaking his neck to get forward as well when the ball was going forward for us. So that was really important. Yeah, lots and lots of decent performances, a couple of slightly little iffy moments out there as well. But when you have a performance like that, that's something you don't want to focus on. You just want to kind of say, look, everyone worked really hard, and that's what matters.
I know Potter arriving gave us hope. I think Lopetegui going gave us hope. Potter arriving gave us hope. Do we now have hope with evidence to some extent off the back of that win going forward?
Well, I'm not sure I saw any massive evidence of, oh, look, we're going to play a certain way. He had to just find a way to win last night. So I don't think we can read too much into it. There wasn't, especially if you look at stats told, there was a perfect example last night actually of how stats don't tell you the full picture of a football match. You actually have to watch it to see what went on, because if you was to look at the stats, you would say that Fulham massively dominated, was kind of all over us, and should have won the match. The commentators also said that they will be thinking they can't believe they lost that game. How didn't they win? So there was lots of opinions that Fulham were by far the better side and should have quite comfortably got a result on the balance of play last night. I didn't quite read it that way. I never really felt like they was having clear-cut chances. No. It wasn't really like they was having missing sitters. I think they then argued as well that the fact that they gave us 2 goals. Now, for whatever reason, the commentator, and we all watched different versions of the match last night, I would imagine, but the one that I watched, the commentator was constantly saying, both commentators actually were saying, that how Fulham gave us 2 goals. There's a big difference between a team that, I hate this terminology because it's a silly tennis phrase, but an unforced error. It wasn't like the goalkeeper had no pressure on him. Yeah. He kicked it out and it went to us, and then that's giving us a goal. We had to work hard both times where we nicked that ball off them. You know, the first one, we had to be on, we're nipping at their toes, we're nipping the ball away. That's from effort and energy. That's our dedication, commitment, and desire to force that mistake. And that isn't them just giving us a goal. Yes, they could do something differently. Yes, they could move the ball quicker. Yes, but at the end of the day, we forced that mistake. And by doing that, we deserve the credit for, you know, having that extra little bit of desirability. So, you know, they may have had on paper these 24 chances. I don't think any of them were real clear cut. I didn't sit there thinking, oh, they're going to score in a minute. I actually always felt we was in control and we're going to go on and win the football match. So, yeah, it was, you know, a performance that I thought, in the end, yeah, okay, you could look at their 24 chances to our 7. I kind of feel we deserve what we got last night, really. So,
yeah, I can back you up on the first goal as well. If you don't mind me getting a little bit geeky and patronising, is that okay, Frankie?
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Before I go for that, I just want to point in direction of Surfshark, where you can grab 4 months free protection for all your devices, thanks to Hammers Chat. Just go to surfshark.com/Hammers Chat. Links in the description below. But you don't need to use it. You just type into the URL bar yourself, and you will get that 4 months free. You can protect unlimited devices with just one account. So when you're out and about, if you're connecting to public Wi-Fi, it still works on public Wi-Fi, giving you that extra layer of protection for your phone, for your tablet, keeping those sneaky, nosy people away from your devices, because what's on your phone contains a lot of information. Think about all the information your phone contains, whether it's your own personal details, whether it's your bank account details, email access, whatever is on there. I remember reading a story once about somebody just put it up. It was one of those LinkedIn ones, right? It was one of those, oh, here we go. Not quite Jake Humphries, who, by the way, sort of like KPI'd his wife on New Year's Day. Jake Humphries got a reputation for his LinkedIn posts, and he put one up like, me and my wife went to the pub and we discussed the following 5 questions. There was a list of questions like what I could have done better in 2024. It's your wife. It was like an employee review. They sat, he put it up, Google it. It's insane and incredible, but the most Jake Humphries thing ever. But anyway, once upon on LinkedIn, I seen someone put up one of those posts saying that he was on the underground in London, and it was squished in as always. So he stood next to someone, and the person got their phone out. He says, so within about 2 minutes, he could tell the person's date of birth because it was the pin to their phone. The person went on social media, so he was able to work out what football team that person supported. Then he went on his email, so he could see where that person worked. So he said he basically watched someone's phone for about a minute, and he was able to gather up all this information. Your phone contains a lot of it, so you can help keep it protected a little bit more with Surfshark. And my favorite thing is when you're out and about. So if you were to go abroad, say Frankie went abroad yesterday, I thought, oh, hang on, I want to watch my usual UK content last night at 7:30. He can change his geolocation and he can tune in to his usual content and catch his football live. Surfshark.com/Hammers Chat. Anyway, from one story time to another story time. If you're a patron, apologies, because you've already had to sit through me patronising you once. You're going to get patronised again. But I'm going to back up Frankie's. I wasn't going to do it, but I've got all the graphics stored on the software we're using. So I thought, oh, I might as well use them. There was a tactical switch from Graham Potter halfway through the first half, and he's spoken about it since the game. So it's the confirmation bias I needed. But Frankie's bang on. That first goal, it was a mistake by Pereira, but was it? Was it not just good work from West Ham? Was that not our game plan? The high press, man for man, go, go, go. That's what you're doing. You're putting pressure on them to force those. So, yes, there's a mistake by Pereira, but at the same time, it's difficult for Pereira. He's facing his own goal with Alvarez breathing down his neck. He's only got one touch on that, and he's got to do something with it. The second one, I think, is a bit more insanity from Leno. You can see Danny Ings coming and takes all the time in the world for some reason. That one's a huge defensive error. But the first one, I think it's just really good play by West Ham. And that we don't score this goal a month ago because we don't press like we do. So here's the patronising bit. So this is West Ham in the 10th minute. You can see Thomas Souček next to Calvin Bassey. Paqueta's on Anderson, and that's it. Mohamed Kudus is off your screen because he's back defending and marking Robinson. I've picked the 13th minute as well, just for more evidence. There's Thomas Souček next to Paqueta. Kudus still off the screen, tracking Robinson. And I thought he struggled, Kudus, with Robinson in the first half of the first half. Moving on to the 20th minute, there's more proof. Kudus tracking Robinson. But we're going to move forward a little bit now to just before the goal. This is the 28th minute. This is Fulham's free kick that they had to retake. Kudus is now next to Calvin Bassey. Wan-Bissaka's pushed up. He's now marking Robinson. And Mavropanos, bowled by Potter, is now one-on-one defending with Alex Iwobi. That's just a little bit further on, just before we score. Again, it's just more evidence. Kudus is now, I don't know, what's that, 20 yards, Frankie, maybe infield? He's off the touchline anyway. He's away from Robinson. And then it leads to our goal. Look where Mavropanos is. He's up there with Iwobi. West Ham force the issue for Pereira. Fantastic finish by Carlos Oliver in the end. But as soon as we scored, Graham Potter pointed at Mavropanos and was like, you. And I liked it. It was a huge tactical switch by Graham Potter. And it's just proactive. How often have we sat here this season and you get to half-time, 1-0 down, 3 subs happen because we've got massively wrong. We were struggling up until 25th minute or whatever. Fulham were on top. We hit the bar, Wilson. We barely got our half. Potter changed it. And it led to the first goal. And it led to the second goal because Wan-Bissaka gets the assist. He's now further up the pitch. Great from him. And then when Marco Silva plays his card, he brings on Adama Traoré. And we've seen it before. Nuno's Wolves, they rocked up. The baby oil in his big arms. And you know what's happening. He comes on, roasts Alan Creswell, puts the ball in, bang, equaliser or winner, can't recall which is. And then we do a sub and bring someone on. As soon as Traoré was on, Scarles and Creswell were ready. Right, we're going to go 2 left backs now. Come on then, we're going to take your big guy on. And I thought they did it really well. So I completely agree with you, Frankie. And if you want to talk about defensive errors, we conceded 2 crosses. It doesn't happen. I was surprised when Gonzo told me Fulham had 21 shots. Didn't feel like it. Fabianski made 2 saves. And if a cross hits the back of the net, it goes down as a shot on target, even though it's not a shot. So technically, 2 of the shots on target were Iwobi's goals, which weren't actually shots. So 21 shots. I agree with you. I felt like it was an even enough game. We were clinical. They weren't. I'll take it. We were down to the bare bones. But I have to be honest with you, Frankie. I'm starting to look up a little bit. 3 points off Brentford in 10th. It's a nice feeling to, for the first time this season, and possibly, I think I'm looking that way rather than that way, Ipswich Town. And are you the same, or are you still a bit?
I'm a bit level-headed, not because of the Potter situation, just because of what we've got available to us at the moment. It's a tough old job, and it was a funny old game last night. There were spells where I thought it was the best football I've seen us play in a long, long time. I thought there was some patterns of play that we knocked the ball around really, really nicely and played some really, really good football. So I was really happy with that. But also, like you say, on a different night, that one that hits the crossbar, things that happen. So, it's a tough old job he's got at the moment. And I think we need to move fairly quickly. I know we've got a few real key players out, but I think it also shows that we haven't got loads of depth.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem. And the issue is, if we all start looking up too much and feeling like there's enough there, then there isn't going to be any movement, and we're just going to have to suffer it until the boys come back, and then we're just going to play out the season. Maybe that's what it needs. Maybe that's what Potter needs. Maybe he doesn't need any pressure this season. Maybe he doesn't need the ball to go and make a few signings and make a bit of a push in this window, and then go, right, here you go, you got these, and when the boys coming back, right, we need to go and push on for Fate's a potential European football for us and all of this. Maybe he doesn't need that. Maybe it just needs him to find his feet, just to play out this season as it is and get to the end of it nice and comfortable, nice and safe, and then we'll have that big push in the summer. I don't know. But it's, I'm not getting carried away. I'm not looking too far in. If we had all the players available to us, and you'd seen, like you say, that proactivity from the manager, and you've seen how he can, because there's no question, like you said, 25 minutes, we were knocking it around across our defensive line, and they were pressing us, and we looked like we were panicking and didn't really know what to do with the ball. And by him being, and this is, it wasn't a negative change either, was it? It was the hardest type of change you can make as a manager. It was actually, we need to counteract what they're doing and push them back a bit. We've actually got to be positive and push on. So that is a real difficult thing. We ain't seen that for a manager in I can't remember how long. So that's all amazing. I would love to be sitting here going, right, that 8th now is the target. And maybe it is the target. Maybe Potter has got that ambition, and maybe that is what he fancies, and that'll be the aim for West Ham. But I'm just happy to be seeing some proper football again, us to be knocking it around. And let's be honest, we knock our atmosphere, our stadium, we knock a lot of that come to life a little bit again last night. So it just shows you that if you play the right football and there's a bit of excitement and there's stuff for us to get behind, then that all turns around as well. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward for the rest of this season. And what I am looking forward to is Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I've got a renowned energy that I want to get over there early doors, get the boy over there. And I'm looking forward to watching West Ham play better football now.
Good man. Love that. I think in regards to the transfer window, it's difficult to know how West Ham are going to go about it. I'm confident we'll bring in 1 or 2 players. And I think it'll be loan moves. I can understand if we decide to keep our powder dry, the likelihood of us getting relegated, not big. Likelihood of us getting European football, also very unlikely. So I think we will sit somewhere where we are now, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, whatever, somewhere in there. So I could understand if they say, no, we'll just keep our money and we'll go into summer, because it is difficult. I know it's not impossible, and they may call it's impossible sometimes. But I think when you're in the safe zone of the Premier League, I think teams like Brentford, I look at, I think they'll probably just wait until the summer. And arguably, that's a good transfer window. If you can go into January not having to spend because you're in a relegation battle, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. My issues more are when we are in a good position in the league and we don't strengthen in January to try and capitalise on it. We've come into the January transfer window before 4th, 5th, 6th in the league and done very little business. And that's when I get disappointing. And then you get one player in, you could finish in a European spot here. We could get one good player in here and just go from 12th to 11th, and that's it. So we'll wait. It's a difficult one. But in regards to the transfer rumours, there's a lot of it at the minute, Frankie. Graham Potter's taking the pressure off the board a little bit by saying we're looking at it, but he doesn't want to rush. Suggestions are Graham Potter's involved in it, and Max Hans, who's the analytics guy, is heavily involved in looking at which striker to bring in. A lot of names been bandied around. A supposed bid for John Duran. I'm just going to hand the floor to you and keep it very open so you can say what you want. But what's your take on the transfer rumours, I guess?
Yeah, I'm not reading too much into him, to be honest. The Duran thing, times have moved on. He's been really important to Aston Villa. In fact, he started seeing that starting lineup more than Ollie Watkins was. Yeah. That's changed. I don't think we're anywhere near the same place we were when we were sniffing around him and had a chance of getting him. And I think that opportunity's gone. I think that ship sailed. That's, finished. And certainly now, if we was ever going to want to get him for the right money, that's gone as well. Like they're going to want top dollar for him. And I'm pretty confident that with what he's shown in the Premier League in this first half of the season, there will be plenty of teams who would be in for him at the right money as well. So for me, that isn't, even on the cards anymore. Don't believe it. Don't think. And if we did bid, it was one of Sullivan's phantom bids where he bids for the sake of bidding when he knows he ain't got no chance of it coming through. So, you know, that's the end of that. I think we all know that we have to go and get a striker now. Like, I know Danny Ings come on last night. It was a weird old decision for me. I think you thought a little bit the same. It was a strange old sub that I actually thought had the potential to lose us the game. I thought it was a real strange move. But, you know, he's the one who sort of put in the effort. And it was strange how that we had the previous match. There was one where the goalkeeper spilled it and he didn't even make any effort to run forward. And then the one that he sort of created for us by nicking the ball was he showed that bit of desire and that bit of energy again. So, but aside from all that, is Danny Ings a player that I want to rely on for the rest of the season? He isn't. And that means that we have got to go and we've still got that same problem, haven't we? I mean, I think everyone half expected Kudus might be playing down the middle last night as a central striker, as a central figure. You saw from those pictures that you sent there, he was very, very rarely down the middle. So there is still this thing where Kudus he isn't going to be that sort of central figure for us. So, yeah, we need to go and sign a striker. It isn't worth rushing it. It's not like we can go and we'd had something lined up and we can go and make a quick move at the beginning of the transfer window because things have changed. So we can't do that. So take our time, see what we're going to get. I fully expect it to be done very late on because that's what we do when we're in this scenario. It will be done on the last day, if not within that last day, sort of last 24 hours. And yeah, that's just how we do our business. So I'm kind of not getting too wrapped up in the transfer rumours. I think there'll be a lot of linked players, a lot of players that get thrown around, a lot of names, and you know, a lot of work has to be done in the background. It's not easy in the January transfer window. It's a lot more difficult than if you was doing this in the summer. And I half don't want to. And this is again the trade-off, isn't it? We aren't a club who should have to feel like if we go and find the right man now and go and make a significant investment, that it would take away some of the budget in the summer. Because I feel like we're a big enough football club and we generate enough revenue, and looking at the figures that come out recently, we should be able to go and make a big signing now and still be able to go and spend money in January, in the summer. But we know how we operate. And if you did go and push the boat out to try and sign a big name now, then there will be a massive chunk of the budget missing in the summer. So I almost don't want us to blow it for that reason, but we definitely need something because, you know, we're just so bare bones. And it's not even like we've got the left back and right back positions or even central midfield where we can and now maybe look to the youth more, because Potter will have confidence in him and you will be happy to play him, and you can play players like Scholes. As a front man, who would you put up there? I just don't think with anyone. I don't think we've got any youth player quite ready I've got the confidence in that we could rely on them when, you know, we're a little bit short. So yeah, I think we need to go and sign someone. But would I try and go all out right now for the man that we've needed for the last decade because we can't go and sign our future striker and always mess it up? I think we're probably better off waiting until the summer to do that.
Yeah, we've also got the Sadibo thing in the summer, haven't we? The €40 million. We've already spent a bit of last summer to try to get him ahead of Juventus. Is there any names that are banded about that tickle your fancy? Andre Silva, Awoni, they're the two big ones at the minute. There's a few based in France and Belgium that I know less about.
Yeah, no, not really, to be honest. Like I say, I do keep myself out of it a little bit. I don't pay much attention to it just because I did before, and you start looking around and you look at these players and you get excited and then you just get let down and whatever else. So I kind of switch off to it a little bit. But yeah, I just know that we just need to go and find that man, whether it's now or whether it's in January. And in the summer, I keep saying January. Yeah. But we need to go and find that man who is going to be that you know, that West Ham striker, that key focal point, that real big presence that we need, and that we can rely on for goals. And even when Bowen and Kudus is back, I still feel like we need that player. But in it hard these days. I was talking to someone the other day, and we was talking about modern day football strikers and so on. They're few and far between these days. Who are the big strikers out there right now? They're not easy to find. So.
Yeah, I think the requirement in January is different to the summer. I think at the minute when we're being linked with Awoni and Andre Silva, I appreciate people say, "Oh, don't get them; they're injury prone." But as long as it's a loan move, I'm okay with an injury prone striker. We only need them to be fit for 4 months. After that, it's not our problem. Send them back to wherever they come from, and it's not the Forest's problem again. It's Leipzig's problem again. As long as they're fit for the next 4 months, they will hopefully do the job that's required of them. I don't want my. Would I sign Awoni now on loan? Yes. Would I sign him for 20 million? No. It's just two completely separate arguments. Same with Marcus Rashford. Would I have Marcus Rashford on loan? Absolutely. Would I sign him? No. Just because of the significant financial cost it would incur West Ham. It would blow our wage structure completely out of the water and just cause problems. I wouldn't sign him on a permanent. But a loan move in January, I think, is a completely different conversation altogether. You're looking for a makeshift striker for a few months. That's all. When in my eyes, I don't think we're looking for a striker that's going to do well next season and the season after that. It's not a long-term investment we're after. We're just looking for someone that can come in, play a handful of games, and might even find themselves benched when Jared Bowen's back. Potter might say, I prefer him up front. You're on the bench. I don't know. I'm just obviously the risk is they get injured in that 4 months. It's a risk you take, but there's a reason these players who are injury prone are available in January because they're injury prone. Nobody's loaning out their top striker in the January transfer window. Maybe one of them, because Gonzo's a man in the know these days, Frankie. He's got his people he speaks to, and so he was asking a couple of people regarding the striker situation. He was getting a few clues, and our sort of guess. Well, he got told today by someone not at the club, but involved with the club that you can work it out. But that basically the striker is someone Arsenal's interested in, and he's a really good striker. So there's only two names that are out there in the press at the minute. One's Sesko, and one of them's Vlahovic. It doesn't take much difficulty working it out. And Sesko's probably going to be on the move in the summer, but Vlahovic could possibly be on the move this January transfer window because Juventus rumoured to want Moani from PSG. Arsenal want Vlahovic. A loan move has been rumoured, but it would come with like a £50 million obligation. And this is where David Sullivan's mouth gets himself in trouble a little bit, because if there was a striker available that would cost 40 million, well, because you've told the world we'd bid 40 million for John Duran, then I expect you to be able to pay 40 million for a other striker if he comes up. Graham Potter goes, I want this striker, he's 40 million. You've got to go get him, really, because you've just told the world that you bid 40 million. Now, I believe we bid 40 million, but don't believe we have an intention of signing him. It's two completely different things. It's like oh, look at me. It's be like me bidding a fiver for Frankie's jumper. He's never going to sell it to me. I don't think, not for a fiver, but I've still bid a fiver for Frankie's jumper he's currently wearing. So I can tell everyone I made a bid for Frankie's jumper. Doesn't mean I actually want it or he's going to get it. So this is where I get frustrated with Sullivan chatting stuff at the minute. But who this mystery striker is, we will wait and see. A lot of talk, though, that Graham Potter is involved. Steiden not so much, but the guy that he brought to the club, the numbers guy, Maximilian Hans, is heavily involved in the transfer windows. Do you have an opinion on that, or are you not too arsed?
No, I think the only opinion you can have is that we went through the previous transfer window and it become a bit of a mess. While there's been some successes, there's been some really odd ones in there, and it was clear that kind of everyone sort of had their little picks, if you like. And I don't think that was the right way. I think we've all got to pull together in the same way and make sure the manager's got what he needs. And I'm not saying he should be out there scouting players and making the shortlist. We've got plenty of people to put a good shortlist together now. And then it's up to Potter to go and pick the ones that he thinks is right for him and how he wants to play football. And that's really important. But the only reason I'm saying that is because I don't think, as we've said before, that we've got the structure to have a proper director of football and culture and identity that is going to be strong enough to run through the whole football club, and then you just sign what the people that are employed to sign players and give yourself that identity. That's what they're there to do. So for me, we're still in the position at the moment. We're not in the Brighton position. We're not in that sort of way. I think we're in a place where actually giving Potter what he needs is going to be crucial. Vlahovic and Sesko, everyone knows Vlahovic and Sesko. Sesko, I think, is done to Arsenal. I think, that's been done for a while, and that's where he wants to go. And everything you see sort of suggests that that's already pretty much already done, even though it's not official. So I don't see that one. Vlahovic, there's a lot of weird things going on there. I mean, he certainly could be on the move, but is he someone that I don't think that's right.
Love that. Right, with one eye towards the weekend, Palace, Frankie, what's your early... I know they play tonight, so we're doing it before Palace play, but what's your feeling? You sound quite optimistic.
Yeah, you know me, I'm always optimistic with West Ham. I always fancy us. And I mean, I've got one of the young lads who plays with my boy, and his dad's a really staunch Palace fan. He's not in the best frame of mind with them at the moment. They're sort of struggling for goals. Their sort of main strikers are not really firing on all cylinders. He wasn't confident. That gives me confidence. So that I'll take a lot from that. So I mean, it's one of them things again where I just don't want to see what we did in that first 25 minutes. That there's no need for that. We've shown that we can play football at home and we can put people on the back foot. Abandon that whole, sit back, play it around the back, 5 at the back, sit deep. We don't need to do it. It's not, we've got players who can play football and get us up the pitch. So, just get rid of that. Start positive. Don't give them a reason to build confidence. Because, again, if Palace come out, we start that way, and that goal that Fulham hit the crossbar with, if they score first, it could be a very different scenario. So I want us to be on the front foot, get in their faces and exploit their vulnerabilities at the moment. I don't think they're full of confidence. Their fans that I'm speaking to certainly haven't been full of confidence. So let's get at them and just keep it rolling, because it would feel good now coming off the back of 2 back-to-back kind of London derby wins at home. That would be a good place to be.
And what's the Frankie score prediction?
I'm going quite big here. I'm going to go 3-0 West Ham.
Oh, would love that. I mean, I'll take any win, to be honest with you, but a 3-0 scoreline would certainly make me happy on Saturday evening. Well, enjoy the game, Frankie. And you guys at home, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please let us know by dropping a like on the video, by clicking the thumbs up. If we could get 1,000 likes, that would be hugely impressive, almost as good as a 3-0 win. And subscribe to have a chat with myself and Frankie. Catch you in a bit.